track viewers around the country, and welcome to the 2016 Vodacom Durban July panel discussion. And of course, that question mark as to who's going to win it in 2016 is uppermost in all of our minds. I will be reminding you of all the carryover news and the various exotic pools that are available in just a moment. But first, let's introduce our panelists for this evening. And starting on the far side, man who's ridden two Durban July winners, the last in 1987, which was 29 years ago. And just to put that into perspective, that's before Justin Vermaak was born. That's when Garth Puller won on Bush Telegraph. Garth, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Graham, and thanks for mentioning that. It's a pleasure being here.
Well, you've ridden two Vodacom Durban July winners, or Durban July winners. They weren't sponsored by Vodacom at that stage. Of course, you were past the post first on 3 occasions, though.
Yes, and involved in both objections of late, so yeah, quite a race.
Hard to believe that was 29 years ago that Bush Telegraph, as a 3-year-old, came into the race unbeaten and went out of the race unbeaten. He certainly was a remarkable colt.
Yeah, top horse. Top horse. It was a handicap those days, so he was in receipt of a lot of weight from Model Man, and it made for good racing.
Yeah, that story, of course, is legendary, that Garth got all the way down to, what was it, 48 kilograms, I think it was, on a rice and apple diet. But that's all in the past. In the present is our second panelist, Justin Vermaak, sporting the track and ball colours this evening.
Yes, Graham. I've jumped on board with them for a few initiatives, which the press releases will go out this week. Public get the opportunity to have a couple of sign-on bonuses. We're doing a few things like stretches, one stretch on a horse that I label per meeting, that type of thing. So they'll see it in the week, and then the guys can get involved just for some sign-up bonuses. But yeah, great to be here again. I think this is my 3rd or 4th July panel in a row. So Sheldon's under pressure for his next open at 14-1 because Rocky Bay is a distant memory.
Yeah, that's in the memory banks.
So we can't keep going back to Rocky Bay, so he's under pressure. You better find something for us.
Well, I'm glad you're doing the stretches. The last time I did a stretch, I pulled a muscle. So I'm not going to give any stretches this time around. Sheldon Peters is the man who makes up our panel, completes the panel, and he'll be calling his 15th Vodacom Durban July. Of course, I think your dad is on to number 31 now, if I remember correctly. Hard to believe that you've done 15 already?
Unbelievable. Where's the time gone? A year later, I'm 37 years old, 15th July, but really look forward to this time of the year and another exciting race on the horizon.
Yeah, it does certainly look to be a very, very exciting lineup. But let's, before we go to our panel, and let me explain the format. We're going to run through the entire card from races 1 through to 12. We've got about an hour or so that gives us about 5 minutes per race. We are not going to dwell on the Vodacom Durban July. I'm going to get their selections, and perhaps with a quartet pool expected to be in the region of 14 million rand, perhaps a suggested structure as to the quartet, and to give their reasons why they fancy their horses. But we've already seen the gallops. We've had the panel discussion at the gallops that Garth was a part of. There are going to be many more panel discussions throughout the week on the Vodacom Durban July. So although we're not ignoring the big race, we do want to give every race on the card equal time. But before we get to that, let me just remind you of the betting feast that you can expect on the 2nd of July. And just to remind you, of course, that the totalizators all open tomorrow, Monday the 27th, and you can take all to come bets into the Vodacom. All of those race meetings from tomorrow, Monday, all the way through to Friday, your all to comes taken in to the Vodacom Durban July. Well, the first race we'll see a quartet maxi pool, and that's got 100,000 rand carryover, and we're expecting a first race quartet pool of R1 million. Race 2 on Vodacom Durban July Day is the first leg of the first bipot, and we've got 2 bipots on the day, and we're expecting that first bipot pool to reach in the order of 750,000 rands. Then we go to race 3, which is of course traditionally, and no exception this time round, the first leg of the place accumulator. We're expecting that pool to reach 3.5 million rand. The first massive carryovers, of course, race 4. It's the mega pool pick 6. We have a 4 million rand carryover, and the likely pool is around 15 million rand. 15 million rand pick 6 pool. And as you'll see from the betting, which has been provided by Betting World for tonight's show, some of the races, in fact, most of the races, very competitive. It's going to be a tough nut to crack, the pick 6, but 15 million rand in the pool is a good reason to have a go. Then race 5 is the first leg of the first jackpot. We have 2 jackpots on the day, and that first jackpot pool is likely to reach 2.3 million. Then race 7, of course, is the 4.25 million rand Vodacom Durban July. We have a 1.2 million rand quartet carryover. We're expecting that pool to reach 14 million rand. The quartet, of course, certainly one of the most popular bets around in South Africa. You know your fate as soon as the race is run. It is an exotic bet, but it's a one-legged exotic bet. 14 million rand, so you're going to spend some time trying to structure those quartets and find the right floating bankers, etc. Race 7 is also the first leg of the second bipot. And we also have a soccer GG running into that, where the pool is likely to reach 175,000. Race 9 will be the first leg of the second jackpot. And just to sweeten the pot, we've got 150,000 rand carryover going into the second jackpot. And that pool is likely to reach 1.5 million rands. Race 11 is the first leg of the jackpot quick mix. And then race 12, which brings the curtain down on a fantastic day's racing. Quartet Maxi Pool to close out the meeting, 200,000 rand being added to the pool, which is likely to reach 1.5 million rand. In all, we're expecting well over 100 million rand to be paid out by the totalizator this coming Saturday, the 2nd of July, when we celebrate the 120th running of the Vodacom Durban July. And that's the title of the first race. It's the July 120th anniversary Fillies and Mares Handicap over 1,400 meters. Let's have a look at the opening betting for this race as supplied by Betting World. 3 horses that all have got form behind Crackpot in their last runs. That's the form line that will come under scrutiny. 5 Impala Lily, Dean Kannemeyer, Anthony Delpeche at 7-2. 4 School Run at 9-2. Number 12 Leisure Trip, who has also got collateral form with Impala Lily at 9-2. Number 2, Penny Serenade, 7s, along with number 3, Secret 7 at 7s, and number 1, Brown Sugar at 8s. They're betting 10-1 and upwards. The others, you'll see the second half of that slide coming up. And of course, we do have 3 reserve runners at this stage. Of course, we don't have any scratchings or jockey changes or anything else to report. So there you can see the rank outside is number 10, Flash McQueen. I'm going to start with Garth Puller. The first race, as we said earlier, has got a 100,000 rand quartet carryover. Garth, we're expecting that quartet to reach 1 million rand. And it does look a competitive race, as the betting suggests. But certainly the crackpot form is going to come under scrutiny here.
Yeah, look, it's, a lot of horses run to Crackpot. I go for the number 4, School Run. It's her 3rd run back. I think she'll make the necessary improvement. And looking at the field, I went 4, 3, 2, and 12. I thought the Crackpot form will hold up, and I like a little bit of the number 12, Leisure Trip.
Okay, so Garth is going with number 4, School Run, to beat number 3, Secret 7, number 2, Penny Serenade, and number 12, Leisure Trip. Interesting that on her debut, Leisure Trip ran 2nd to Impala Lily. I know that's quite a long time ago. It was on the 19th of December. At that stage, Impala Lily had a couple of runs, and so it was a very creditable run by Leisure Trip to Impala Lily, Justin. That's a bit far back, but clearly an indication that this is competitive. Not too much to choose between the leading candidates. School Run is well drawn. Impala Lily is well drawn. Leisure Trip drawn a bit towards the outside. Of course, one must remember that the crackpot form was at Scottsville. We're on the Polytrack first race at Greyville, so it is a change of surface. What do you fancy?
Yeah, I agreed. We chatted a little bit before the show aired, obviously, and I agree with Mr. Puller there. School Run, 3rd run now. Going to be primed for this race. Bernard rides from draw 3. Obviously, Secret 7 drew right out wide last time. Retains that wide draw again, but Richard will look to place this filly. She can run handy, and there's a few jockeys better than him from a handy position or up front. So I think it's very open. Leisure Trip, also that penultimate second behind Elusive Enchantment, very good run. On that, we'll have a chance if we're producing that type of run. And then just from a main chance point of view, we have Penny Serenade in the race. She's a decent filly. She disappointed us in that crackpot run last time because she obviously put in fairly decent runs, just a couple of lengths off the best 3-year-old fillies in the Halfveld, in the fillies Guineas and the 3 Troikas. She then beat Trophy Wife, and she ran very wide throughout and just told in the last furlong behind Persian Rug, where we thought she had earned black type by finishing in the first 3. So we were confident of a good run at Scottsville, and she never quite quickened the way we were hoping she would. maybe the mile is a touch on the far side. She is by Silvana, an Oaks winning mare, but she's done very well over sprints and over shorter. So maybe she's just a 7 furlong type of horse. So she's definitely got to go into that big quartet.
Sheldon, moving on to you. I know you found a horse in the first that you liked. You told me off air. That's also well drawn, and that's the Michael Azzi trained Peep Show at very generous odds.
Yes, she's trading around 14 to 1. I think she could represent some value. Going to have to take her fitness on trust. She's been off the track for 163 days. But if you look at her sand rating and her turf rating, her sand rating's far superior. Trophy Wife's come out to win 3, Run for Revelry. Fit and Well, I think she's an each-way proposition. And number 1, Brown Sugar, the course and distance specialist. Those will be the 2 for the quartets.
Right, well, Sheldon did mention the quartets, and as we said, just to repeat ourselves, there's a quartet carryover going right into race 1. And don't forget, the action starts early on Vodacom Durban July Day, the first race off at 11:25. So you want to try and catch that quartet. Very competitive race, probably floating bankers of your choice or boxed. I'm going to row in with Dean Canamere. His form on the poly track has been just so superb, very consistent. Number 5, Impala Lily. She is at the top of the boards, but easy to back at 7 to 2. I like the fact she's drawn 1, and the Anthony Delpesh, Dean Canamere combination have been absolutely deadly on the poly track, and they could get us off to a flying start. Let's move on to race 2, which is the first leg of the first bipot. And it's a race that's named in honor of the 50th anniversary of the Sea Cottage saga. We all remember that. Sea Cottage, way back 50 years ago, made the headlines for all the wrong reasons, being shot on the beach before going on to run fourth with the bullet in his hind quarter, and then coming back a year later to dead heat in the Vodacom Durban July, known then, of course, as the Rothmans July. So this race is over 1,400 meters. It's also on the poly track. It's a middle stakes. It's a kind of a pinnacle stakes for the middle of the road horses. And so let's have a look at the betting for race 2. And you'll see again, it's the Delpesh Canamere combination looking for an early double on the poly track. They've got the favourite in the form of number 4, Cape Laddie, at 22 to 10. One of the shorter priced favourites on the days you'll see as we go through the race card. 2, Desert Fighter, and 3, Water Poet at 9 to 2. Number 5, Sublime Code at 13 to 2. The luckless number 11, Tipo Tinto, at 7s. 1, Aspire at 8 to 1. They're betting 14 to 1 and better the balance here. Again, of course, we've got 3 reserve runners waiting in the wings should anything come out in time. But Sheldon, let's kick off with you. This is the first leg of the bipot, and the favourite is number 4, Cape Laddie. Does have a pretty decent form, very consistent from only 4 starts. Is he your choice, or are you looking to turn him over?
I think we can turn over Cape Laddie. If you look at the field, very, very open affair. If you look at the best weighted column in this contest, there's 5 or 6 runners who are point apart, so there's not going to be much between them. Number 1, Aspara, I believe he's going to be a better proposition over the 1400. He's dropped down from a 91 to an 80, so I think he could be a little bit of an each-way go. 6, Master Archer, and number 11, Tipo Tinto. I think he might have one more victory in the tank. So number 1, Aspara, and 11, Tipo Tinto, those could be for place bets.
Dougie White, of course, is flying out from Hong Kong. It's been a long time since he rode in South Africa. And Aspara, the one you mentioned, number 1, Saddlecloth, that'll be his first look at the poly track. So I'm sure he'd be looking to get a win quickly under the belt, or certainly make his presence felt. Justin, again, Sheldon's quite alternate in his views on race 2. How do you see it?
Yeah, I'm quite strong on the favourite, Cape Laddie. I think he's going to be a horse that's a lot better than a 79 going forward. If you look at his maiden win, coming off a bit of a break, he beat Vilakazi, who's ended up to be an above-average horse himself. And you know, those maiden events in the Cape in early November, there's some very good 3-year-olds come and are very competitive to try and break their maidens in those times. And he obviously then had a long break, and he ran a very good second behind Irish Pride, running on well. He's out of that mare First Arrival, who's produced in the fast lane and Light the Lights, and she never misses. And I think from a good draw, second run, a bit of fitness under the belt, he's going to take a bit of beating. I think Aspara will go close. He's a lot better than his current form, and maybe a run on the poly, 3rd run in the centre, 4th run now, I think, in Durban. Might see some improvement from him. And then Tipo Tinto, he's an old, hard-knocking campaigner. He's got a little bit in his favour at the weights, but I think Cape Laddie is going to improve and win here.
Well, Garth Cape Laddie, of course, has got the pedigree, as Justin alluded to. He cost 1.2 million rand as a yearling, so he was obviously a good-looking, well-bred yearling. But neither of our other two panelists, referring, of course, to Sheldon and Justin, have mentioned either Desert Fighter number 2 or Water Poet number 3, both of which have very, very good form, look to be good improving 3-year-olds. Tipper Tinto as an older horse, they're giving a chance. What do you make of race 2? It's the first leg of the bipod.
No, I had it down as 4-3-2-1, but I have slight reservations on Laddie, Cape Laddie, because it's his second run back. You can get rolled. I do like the 2. I think it's obviously a versatile horse, and yeah, it's open. Tipper Tinto comes into the race, but I must say I side a little bit with the 2 from 4 and 3.
So Garth going with number 2, Desert Fighter. So guys, this is not a race that we're looking to banker in the opening leg of the bipod, but Sheldon, would you say you could get away with 1, 2 or 3 runners, maybe 2?
Yeah, I think if you're looking at numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can take 2 of the 4 runners and you should be safe.
Okay, let's move on to race 3. We don't want to get bogged down early in the card. Make a note of what the guys are saying, because it's a tough day's racing. It's going to be all about the structure in your exotics, where you go short and where you go long. The third race off at 5-1 is the first leg of the place accumulator. It's effectively the Vodacom Durban July Consolation. It's a Delta Airlines 2200. And this race, of course, has Punta Arenas in the lineup, and he ran second in the big race last year. But the favourite is number 2, Helderberg Blue, at 33-10. This is the last time round for trainer Mike Bass as an official trainer. Of course, he hands in his licence at the end of the season, so this is his final Vodacom Durban July day before he hands over the reins to Candice Robinson. And we'd all love to see him have a winner. He's got the favourite here. Number 9, Master Switch at 4-1. 12, Al Gadir is at 9-2 with number 8, Deputy Judge, who ran second in the Derby just the other day at 11-2. 5, Master's Eye at 13-2, and 3, Disco L is at 8-1. There's Punta Arenas, number 1 on the card at 12-1. He loves Gravel. So my first question, Garth, is the old boy didn't run too bad a race behind Exit here in the Cup trial. He was never dangerous, so he seems to have lost a bit of fire in the belly. But he's got a good draw. He nearly surprised them last year. Is this a kind of race where he could regain some of his confidence?
I don't really see it. He's a 7-year-old. It's hard for them to find that kind of form. You know, I must say, speaking to Justin before the season, he was aiming this horse Master's Eye at the July, and he's got that come on look. For me, that's the horse to beat. I'd go with Heidelberg Blue, and I went with Deputy Judd. I don't think he ran a very good game race last time, and he's a galloper, and a little bit of Master Switch and Al Gadir. So I saw it as 5-8, 3-12.
So your first selection, though, is number 5, Master's Eye. We're back on the turf, obviously, for the third race.
Yeah.
This race, first leg of the place accumulator. And again, we've got Dougie White in the irons. It's been a long time since he's been around the Gravel track. He's got a good draw. Heard from his mom that she's going to drive up from the Midlands to be here as well. So she'll be egging him on. So all of the Dougie White fans are coming out of the woodwork here, but we've watched him over so many years riding at the top of his game in Hong Kong. But of course, Jose Moreira has now just taken over the mantle of winning everything. But Justin, again, it's a typical handicap. It's not an easy race. We can expect a very competitive finish. Who do you think knows is going to be in front when they hit the line?
My first pick is Helderberg Blue. I think he's primed for this race. He's had a couple runs now in the centre. You know, he hasn't been the luckiest horse in his last 2 starts. He was running on strongly, and he really took Balance Sheet to the line in the Lonsdale. So I'll make him the horse to beat. I think second, Master's Eye. He was strongly fancied to run a big race last time in the Cup trial, and he was only a length or so behind the winner. Dougie White from draw 4 has got to be 2 big pluses. Deputy Judd, I think, will be my third selection. He's got a reasonable draw, and he's run pretty well his last couple starts. That was a good second behind Cape Speed. He was not well in there at the weights at all. He was giving weights away to horses with a lot higher merit ratings than him, and he has been a lot higher than 98 in the past. So he has had 2 runs in June and now 1 on the 2nd of July, so he's had a bit of racing, but he's a big hardy fella, and I'm sure he can take it. So he'll be my third selection from Master Switch, who's a capable horse on his day. Not the most consistent of horses, but he's drawn one with Anton Marcus on 55.5 in this field. He's got to be a runner.
Well, I think Michael Azzi was absolutely desperate to get Deputy Judd into the Vodacom Durban July, maybe to ensure a good pace for Abashiri, but also because he felt that the horse was coming well, Sheldon, and I think he showed that when running a close second at Scottsville in the Derby over 2,400 metres. He comes back 200 metres, but that shouldn't be a problem. He set the pace in last year's Vodacom Durban July, did Deputy Judd. Do you make him a runner, or who are you going with?
I think he's a big runner, Deputy Judge. You mentioned his last effort, a super second to Cape Speed. I make him a runner. I think he'll be in the top 4. I'm leading with number 2, Helderberg Blue from the Mike Bass stable. He's been 4th in most of the features, the Cup Trial, the Champions Cup, the Peninsula. He ran 3rd in the JMB Met. So he's a horse you just want to watch on race day. Goes down with a companion. If the crowd doesn't get the better of him, I think Helderberg Blue will win. Then Masters are Deputy Judd and Master Switch.
Okay, well, it could be a battle between Mike Bass stable, Justin Snay stable, but Michael Azzi is there to make his presence felt. The guys tending to go with number 2, Helderberg Blue, the favourite, to get Mike Bass off the mark on the day. But obviously, Garth, very, very healthy respect for number 5, Master's Eye. Deputy Judd not to be ignored. But I would be really pleased to see the old man Punta Arenas giving them all a big fright and at least making his presence felt and finishing somewhere in the first 4. Now the 4th race, which is also on the turf, it's the first leg of this mega pool pick 6. We're expecting to reach 15 million rand with the help of a 4 million rand carryover. It's over 3,000 winners. We've just heard that number 5, No Worries, is in fact going to be scratched. Has he been scratched? He of course won the KZN Million today. So hot off the press news, we've just got it coming through to the studio. No Worries definitely scratched from the SABC Gold Vase. And talking about the SABC, we've got 3.5 hours of live coverage on SABC3 this year, from 1:30 all the way through to 5 o'clock. Well, this is always a spectacular race to watch on Vodacom Durban July Day, with the track filled on both sides of the course, and the horses starting in the straight and going around a few times. And your favourite here is, of course, number 4, Balance Sheet. Perhaps we can just have another look at that betting if they can bring it back for us. There's Balance Sheet at 7-2, but it is going to change because No Worries, as we've just heard, is a scratching. But next in line in the betting, they're likely to shorten, is Storm Warning and 3 Balloons. King of Pain, who's certainly shown himself to be a solid stay at 7-1. Solar Star, not without a hope, at 8-1. Enard at 10s, and Kingston Mines, who's also a resolute galloper, is at 14-1. But let me start with Sheldon, because this is the first leg of the pick 6. Now, when there's 15 million rand in the pool, you don't want to go out the first leg. Having said that, you also don't want to be putting in horses that you really don't fancy can win. But to me, this almost looks like a field race.
It's one of those tough races. I've elected to go big on number 1, King of Pain. I believe it's 7-1. He'll probably shorten down 6-1 with the scratching. If you look at his penultimate victory, that was in the Grade 3 Chairman's Cup over 3,200. Opened a new dimension with him. Former winner of the Grade 1 Rising Sun Gold Challenge. Cracking run last time behind Solid Speed in that Gravel 1900. Neat draw, lack of pace in the race. I think King of Pain will be back for a victory.
Justin?
Yes, just alluding to that, No Worries. I just got a message from Gareth on WhatsApp, and they're taking him out, and they're going to be prepping him for the 1800 Champions Cup at the end of on Champions Day, on Gold Cup Day. So I've gone very short in this race. Obviously, I think the last 2 legs of the pick 6 look like just about field races. So I'm going short here, and then the 2-year-old race up next. I'm very big on King of Pain. I think this is a step down in class from the Gravel 1900, and he's going up in trip, which he's proved that he's very, very capable in running over. Bernard gets on spectacularly well with him as well. He's going to strip fitter than his last run, and I think he's a big, big runner here in the Gold Vase. Balance Sheet, obviously the winner of the Lonsdale, an improving son of Silvano, going the trip. That won't be a problem with him. And then 3 Balloons I'm including as my 3rd horse in the pick 6. He ran a fantastic race in the Derby last time. Obviously, Cape Speed wins, as the form shows us. And then Deputy Judd ran 2nd. He was 3rd, rated 82. So he's achieved a lot higher than that. And he's running with 52.5 here. Gravel's probably not going to be the ideal course for him. He'll like a much longer run-in. But going this trip, hopefully for him, there's a bit of pace early on, and he'll be doing his best work late.
Garth, Balance Sheet is the ruling favourite. And again, it's Brennan and Marsh, and those famous colours that Pocket Power carried to victory on so many occasions. He ran an absolute cracker in the Gold Cup last year, finishing 2nd to Wild One. So the course and the distance, I realise the Gold Cup is obviously 200 metres further than this race, right up his alley. He's in is in really good form. Is he the one to beat, or have you found one or two others?
No, I must say, I like Balance Sheet. I like his current form. I think he's probably the one to beat. I respect King of Pain. He's had the one run. Storm Warning, I thought had a chance, and I'm going to go with 3 Balloons, and I found the number 12, Enard. I think that's up and coming horse. I think his form's good. He's no problem with the distance. Mike de Kock trains Samanga Kamala in the saddle. I think that's the horse to watch out for.
Okay, very quickly before I move on, because obviously this is the first leg of the pick six, as I said. So Sheldon, without labouring anything, your pick six numbers. I know you might change them before we get a big race day, and we're still 6 days out. But sitting here as we are tonight, first leg of the pick six, what are you going with? In no particular order.
I'd go 1 King of Pain, 2 Gold Onyx, 4 Balance Sheet, and then throw in number 12 Enod, and 14 3 Balloons.
So a couple there, Justin?
Yeah, I've just gone King of Pain, 3 Balloons, and then Balance Sheet.
So Justin taking a bit of a chance, taking a bit of a gamble, but of course if you get away with it, it does help your permutation later on. Garth?
Yeah, I'd go the 1, 4, 12, and 14.
Okay, so there you've heard it from the guys.
I'd add the 6 as well.
Add the 6, which is Storm Warning. Yes, you did mention Storm Warning. Right, let's move on to race 5, which is also the first leg of the first jackpot. And it is the Gold Circle Golden Slipper for 2-year-old fillies over 1,400 meters. Now, probably the closest that you'll find up to a banker on the day is the very impressive daughter of Jadpot, number 9, Maleficent, who's at 13 to 10. There is opposition in the race. 14, Visuality, really caught the eye last time out and is at 9 to 2. Then we've got 10, My Funny Valentine at 6s, and number 12, Sail at 6s, and she's no slouch. They're betting 12 to 1 and upwards the balance. But Maleficent could hardly have been more impressive than when winning over the course and distance last time in the Devonair Stakes. And of course, Garth, Alec Laird and Waishong Mowing, they know what it takes to win races of this sort.
Yeah, a top conditioner, and obviously she was very impressive in her last win. She's definitely the horse to beat. If anyone looks to go short, this is probably the race. I'm always of the opinion that fillies and mares means field and more. So I think any kind of upset can happen here. I've always said
that's not a chauvinistic kind of an approach
not
at all,
is it?
No,
not at all. So the way I look at it, I thought 9 from 14, from the 10. And I liked a little bit of 1 and 12.
So that's number 1 is El Hora, and 12 is Sail. Obviously, she's done nothing wrong, having won the last 2, but it does look as if she's stepping up a little bit in company. Justin, I know you were saying off air that, yeah, Maleficent does look the right one, but you're quite hot on Visuality as well. Do you make it a 2-horse race?
I think it's a 2-horse race. If I was forced to banker something, it would be Maleficent. I think she's a super filly in the making. Another top horse by Judpot. This is a full sister to Rocket Ball, who goes 2,000 meters, ran second in the Derby. So she'll be getting better with every run and the further she goes. I really liked the run of Visuality last time. She caught the eye strongly. You know, all these horses like Maleficent and Sail, etc., are now stepping up to group quality, whereas Visuality's already performed in a Group 1 and just got beaten by the Secret Azat, who's a very good filly. So she gave the impression in that run that she would improve going the extra 200 as well. So Pierre Stratham rides, I think that's a huge run at, and a big danger to Maleficent. My Funny Valentine wasn't far behind, but she's got draw 12 to contend with, and being out of a Group 1 win over 1,200, you know, she might be a sprinter. El Hora, number 1, could be anything if you rule out that last run. She's held on that run, but you know, these 2-year-olds are improving at such different rates, and you can't really use collateral form. And she's by new approach out of a reduced choice mare. It's phenomenal breeding. So it's open if you look past Visuality. The Merry Widow has got crack cape form as well. Really good form. Gave 3 kilos to Live Life, who's a good filly, sister to Cold as Ice. And she only got touched off last time for the first time in her career getting beat. She has obviously got 16 draw to contend with. So you're going to need luck from there. But it's open if you look past Visuality and Maleficent. So I'm simply not going to look past them and just go with either the bank of Maleficent, but I'll probably throw in Visuality, go with the 2.
Well, you have to have a view. You know, these races are competitive, and obviously their trainers think highly of them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be running in these sort of races. But interesting, Sheldon, Maleficent on a debut was backed like a good thing from 28 to 10 to 15 to 20. Obviously, inexperience called out, but the horse that beat her that day, the filly that beat her was Last Chirpo, I think came out and won today for St. John Gray. Since then, of course, she hasn't put a foot wrong over the distance. She's unbeaten over the distance. Is it to her advantage over a filly like Visuality that she has in fact won over the Greyville 1400, which Visuality tackles for the first time?
I think it's a big bonus for her. If you look at Maleficent, her last run, she seemed a bit flat-footed coming to the 350. Karari Falcon really quickened up to win. And when Maleficent found her stride, she put them to bed. So I think the inside draw, the course experience, I'm going to banker her in my one pick 6. The other pick 6, I'm just going to add number 14, Visuality.
Okay, so there you heard it. Sheldon's going to play around with a couple of pick 6s, which is not a bad idea. You know, you can sometimes have different bankers and take smaller permutations and give yourself a chance depending on the outcome of the various races, because I think Justin summed it up very well. There's a solid form in this race. There are some very, very good fillies. But this does, as Garth says, looks to be the one race that perhaps you can go short in. And I'm going to nail my colours to the mast. I'm going to go with number 9, Maleficent, as a banker, because otherwise you're going to find that it's starting to get very, very expensive. But on a day like today, from a strategy point of view, rather have a bigger perm with a lesser percentage than try and cut horses out that you do give a chance to. The Colts equivalent is race 6, the Durban Golden Horseshoe, over 1,400 metres, the last race before the Vodacom Durban July. It's off at 3:10. And let's have a look at the latest betting. And yeah, you can see it's wide open. 9-2, Misty Burnham and Oomph. Bold Rex at 11-2, and Nagi 6-1. The very impressive number 10, Palladium, at 13-2, with Buffalo Soldier and Dafiq at 8-1. I can't help thinking that if Dafiq was better drawn, he'd be much shorter in the market. I know that Mike de Kock has got a very high regard for Dafiq. He was disappointed he got beat last time out. That was the day we had a bit of a false start with the Gate Crasher Stakes. I mean, we were talking about Gate Crasher earlier, and the first false start we've had at Greyville with the new gates is in the Gate Crasher Stakes. I mean, it was just an amazing coincidence. But let's start with you, Sheldon. What do you make of this race?
I think it's an absolute nightmare. I've been with number 10, Palladium, in his 2 victories to date, so I'll probably lean with him. His last effort was a super performance. He came from a hopeless position. He quickened up like a really good sort. Number 8, Oomph. Number 6, Misty Burnham. And, of course, number 1, Bold Rex. I think it's very, very tricky. But put me in a corner. I'd go number 10, Palladium, from number 8, Oomph, and 6, Misty Burnham.
Okay, so Palladium just got up to beat Dafiq last time. Dafiq made the running, and but so you're not really expecting him to have any problems with. In fact, you're expecting Dafiq to run unplaced this time. Is that just because of the draw?
Just because of the draw. He might be used up in the initial stages, and there's going to be quite a lot of improvers in the race. If he wins, it'll be a big victory from the draw, but I think Palladium will hold him.
Justin, interestingly, Misty Burnham came up for sale at the Super Sale on Thursday. Not a bid for him. Not a bid. Ruling favourite in a grade 2. Yeah. Son of Toreador, very impressive, has won over the course and distance, and but not a bid for him. But obviously the race may show them all to be wrong. What do you fancy here?
I think Palladium is the horse to beat. I'm a huge fan of this horse. The way he's won his races has been very, very impressive. I mean, last time he came from a long way back. And obviously, speaking about mares who don't miss, a lot of speed from the dam side, Manelli mothered, Valdera and Tevez. And then obviously there's a bit of Silvano that's come through in this mating, because this is a horse who looks like he wants a mile plus on his racing style anyway. Dafiq's still got to have a bit of a chance from that draw. Another son of Silvano. He's done nothing wrong. He's a high quality horse. And I think there's a bit of a lurker in the form of Bold Rex, who's by Bold Silvano, who's obviously a son of Silvano, who's making waves in his first crop running. He was a very impressive winner last time. He disappointed me in his second start, because I thought he would run a bit better than that when he was 6th behind Horse Guards. But with Delpesh up from draw 3, he's a horse who can win this race. Misty Burnham can win. I'll put Oomph in the pick 6 because he deserves a second chance. Zodiac Ruler was extremely impressive when winning by a super sire in Zoffany, who's making waves with his colts overseas and in Europe. And then even a horse like number 13, Unagi. I mean, he beat older horses. Okay, he won a 68 handicap, but it's no mean feat for a 2-year-old to beat older horses in May. never mind beat them by 5 lengths. So he's a horse who could have an outside chance, but there's at least 6 or 7 that will go in the pick 6. I'll put everyone that I mentioned in, and then hope for a bit of a result.
So Garth, Justin going wide, you've been associated with so many top 2-year-olds over the years. We were chatting about over the air who won the Vodacom Durban July for you in 1979, you said it was, and then Gatecrasher was before that in 75. All of these horses showed potential right from the get-go. Your impression of this field, where do you see the quality?
Very difficult, I must tell you. I like Bold Rex. I like a lot of horses in the race, I've got to tell you. Misty Burnham, Oomph, you've got to give a second chance. Palladium's drawn 10. I know it came from well back last time, but it's going to count. This, I mean, it's drawn 12. I even like the first time of Mike de Cox. Good first run. Rashmal. And Unagi, done nothing wrong, beating older horses. This is very open. I went 1, 10, 6, 8, 2, 11, 3. I think it's wide open. I don't think you can leave any horse out with form.
Well, that's why it's even more important to hope that you get it right in the fillies race with Maleficent or perhaps one other Visuality, because as you've heard from the guys, this colts race, the Durban Golden Horseshoe over 1,400 meters, has the makings of a very, very exciting finish with 2-year-olds flashing up on either side of the track. But you've got to make a selection. I agree with them. I'm going to go with number 10, Palladium, but I'm looking for another big run from Dafiq. Even though he's drawn out there in the bush, who knows, perhaps he can get the run of the race. My son is telling me that Zodiac Ruler is going to win it. The 7th race is the Vodacom Durban July, 4.25 million up for grabs, and of course that massive quartet pool of 14 million rand. So the quartet, apart from your on the nose bets, is the one you want to catch. As we said, we're not going to dwell too much on this race. It has been thrashed this way and that way, and will continue to be analysed from every corner throughout the week. But here's your latest betting. The Grey Filly to be ridden by Anthony Delpeche, Bella Bella at 9-2. French Navy and Black Arthur 13-2. Marinaresco, drawn out very deep, is at 7-1. Solid Speed, the same colours as Power King, who won it last year. Same jockey, same trainer, has continually shortened in the betting from 16-1 all the way through to 9-1. Anton Marcus will have his fans aboard Saint-Tropez at 13-1. Abashiri's on the drift out to 14-1. It's My Turn galloped so well on Thursday morning at 14-1. My personal choice, Mamba Mime at 16-1. Master Sabina is a course and distance winner. He won the consolation race a couple of years ago. He's at 20s. Rabada at 20s. The rest of them at big prices. So we're going to start with Garth Puller. And Garth, I'm simply going to ask you this. Your 1, 2, 3, 4, your top choice and why you fancy him.
I'm a Black Arthur fan. I just didn't like the draw when it came out, so I tended to side a little bit with Solid Speed. So I'm Black Arthur, Solid Speed. French Navy's got to be a runner, and I saw it as 1, 5, 8, 16, 18, and 9. Those are the horses that I like.
1, 5, 16. Who's number 16? That's Saint-Tropez. You give a big chance to 18, of course, Bella Bella. 9, It's My Turn. So those are like the top 6, and you've got to play around with those. Would you think it's a kind of right race where you're going to be boxing quartets rather than looking to banker?
Yeah, boxing quartets, or you'd rove two horses. I would tend to rove Black Arthur and Solid Speed. I think Solid Speed's got the credentials, the right build-up. Kahneman knows how to do it, Dean. And he looks like the right horse. He's level-weighted with the 3-year-olds. You've got 10 3-year-olds in the race. You've got the filly in the race only receiving 1 kilogram from the colts. They normally say a good colt can beat a good filly, so you've got to look at it from all angles. A tough race. French Navy, the proven warrior in the race. Good run last time out. You know what? You can throw them the numbers in a hat and pull one out.
That's not what we're going to do. We're going to try and analyse it. I think French Navy on all known form is the horse to beat. I'm a little concerned that Waishong Justin says he's got a bit lazy out of the gates. He kind of seems to hit a flat spot in his races. There's no doubt he does his best work at the end. He's a course winner as a 3-year-old in the Daily News. He must obviously have a big chance, but which way are you leaning?
Yeah, look, he I think is probably the benchmark in the race. Well, not probably, he definitely is, because he has 60 kilos and the weights are off him. But he's drawn well. The 2-2 is up his alley at this course, and I'll give him a big chance. He's carrying 60, but you know, it's all relative, but we can't compare from this year and years before because it's all relative on what you're running against. And Heavy Metal won the July carrying 59.5, which people seem to forget, which is half a pound, which is a pound away from top weight. And I don't think Heavy Metal, although he was a super talented horse, quite has the record French Navy has. I think he might be a shade better. So everything's in his favour. I make him a quartet horse. I personally like Black Arthur. Managed to get on a good price and on anti-post, which I was quite chuffed about. But I'm not going to change my mind because he's drawn at 17 now. Obviously, the way the weights have been structured now with the scratching of Legal Eagle, all these 3-year-olds are a bit further under sufferance than they would be. And I think we've seen today with Rabada getting beat by no worries at those weight terms that it's going to take a particularly good effort from a very, very good 3-year-old to beat the older horses that are well weighted here, like Solid Speed is. So I think Black Arthur could be that horse. He's running off 110 at his weights. I think going forward he could be that type of horse who's a Met favourite, a Queen's Plate favourite next season. So he may be better than 110 going forward. So I wouldn't put it past him from winning this race. Solid Speed, as Garth touched on there, he's well in here, 106. He could be better than that. He's got what can only be described as a phenomenal trainer with a great record in this race and with all his horses and all Group 1s in general. So he'll be absolutely spot on. He's got 2 kilos in hand over Saint-Tropez, who, by the way, I put in the pick 6 as well. Anton takes the ride. He's always looked like a horse that's had a lot of scope and is going to end up being a more than decent horse going forward. It's My Turn's got to have a chance. He won the Cape Derby, very good run in the Daily News. And I did like your selection, Mumbo Mime, but I just think that carrying the same weight as a stablemate Solid Speed, I think he might be held by that horse and by a horse like Black Arthur. Marina Resco goes in, he's done nothing wrong, and I personally don't think he's got much of a chance from draw 19. I think obviously his Winter Classic form proves nothing to me because he's beaten Whiskey Baron and Red Badge, horses that aren't great shakes. But that second to Black Arthur and the Politician was a good run. And then obviously the filly's got to be respected. Anthony Delpeche has jumped off Black Arthur onto her. So from draw 3, it's going to be tough for her, only getting a kilo from the Colts. But as I said, it's going to take a superstar effort from a 3-year-old, and she might be that superstar.
Well, a comprehensive analysis there from Justin. I'm glad he didn't mention the reserve runners because we're down to only the top 18 left now. So I think Justin's quartet is your box all 18, and you might actually end up showing a profit. Now, he's obviously leaning towards Black Arthur, and I was a little concerned the way he got himself a little het up at the gallops. But Sheldon, your key horses in the race.
I'm going to go with number 1, French Navy. He's the proven horse, although he's got the 60 on his back. I think he's had the ideal prep. I really enjoyed that run behind Mac Delaga. He was doing his best work late. Washong Moing's looking for a change of luck. So I think number 1, French Navy, the horse to beat. I'll go with number 8, Solid Speed, a hard-knocking son of Dynasty, second. Number 18, Bella Bella. She'll be my 3rd selection. And then for the minor placings, perhaps number 5, Black Arthur's good enough.
Okay, well, I'm going to have a go at the quartet, and I'm going to triple float. Unlike Garth, I'm not going to double float. I'm going to triple float. I think French Navy certainly deserves to find his way into the top 4. I agree with Garth. I think Solid Speed is a likely contender for top honours, but I'm also going to include the stable companion. So I'm going to triple float French Navy, Solid Speed, and Mamba Mime with as many horses as possible, and hopefully pick up a nice quartet dividend. But I guess it's a kind of Vodacom Durban July. As many people as you ask for an opinion, that's how many different opinions you're going to get, because it's that kind of the race. It's set up to be a fabulous event in 2016. It should be an absolute wonderful occasion, and we're all looking forward to seeing a very, very closely contested finish at shortly after 20 past 4 when they're set to jump away from the 2,200 meter gates. On to race 8. It's an MR103 handicap sponsored by Compendium Insurance. It's over 1,000 meters. And as you'll see from the betting, it's another nightmare. They're betting 5.5 to 1 the field, 2 Guinness, 4 Harry Lime at 11 to 2, 6 Vincente, 6 to 1, along with 11 Iska at 6 to 1. Then all of Splendid Garden, Beloved Country, Captain Sam, and Arabian National at 7 to 1. So Sheldon, the clock is ticking by. We're on to race 8. It looks very competitive. Give us your selections for this race, which is due over to 5:15.
Well, as far as the pick six goes, I'm going to go the field. This is a race where I believe you can get a big upset, so I'm going to go the field as far as the pick six goes. My first selection, a narrow selection, number 4, Harry Lam. If he jumps on terms, Lyle Hurtson's riding from an inside draw. He's best this distance. He'll be my selection. Number 1, Splendid Garden will be my second pick, and then you go as wide as you want after that. The field for the pick six for me here.
Right, a field leg, I tend to kind of agree. The betting suggests that's the way it's going to be, but maybe Justin's got other ideas.
No, I agree. Wide as possible, thank you. That's why I've gone short in the beginning legs, so we could go wide here. My first pick would be number 11, Iska. Coming back to 1,000 meters, he did win the Stormbird, beating Brazuca first time out, a feature on debut. He's 52 kilos, MR87 from draw 2. He's going to jump and bowl, and he might take some pegging back. Harry Lam's a very quick horse himself from draw 1 with still a claim of Lyle's 1.5. He's got a chance. And then I think the outsider for third, number 9, Captured Wind. A good run behind Triptease last time, and a pedigree that suggests he'll go well on the poly.
Garth?
I went with 4, Harry Lam. I thought Iska had a chance, number 11. 14 if it comes into the race. I think from a 4 draw, Zanzibar. And 9 and 10.
So, but you make it obviously a very tough.
No, make it very open.
Okay, so the popular choice seems to be number 4, Harry Lime. Jumps out of the number 1 gate, but as Sheldon said, this could be the leg where certainly also in the jackpot, it's the last leg of the first jackpot. You want to make sure if you've survived the first 3 legs, which of course includes the Vodacom Durban July, that you don't go out in the last. So your jackpot is always a nice bet to cover your pick 6 or to restructure it so as to give yourself a different sort of an opportunity than perhaps you'll enjoy in the pick 6. Now the 9th race, which closes out the pick 6 and the place accumulator, which is also the first leg of the second jackpot, which will have a little carryover to help it on its way. This is the KZN Yearling Sale Million. It's for 2-year-olds over 1,300 meters. Lots of unexposed horses. And here again, you might have to take a chance and go light. Number 12, Poster Girl from the Gavin Van Sales stable was very impressive first time out. Is the favorite at 2-1. Number 10, Luna Rush at 7-2. 13, Shazam at 6-1. 1, Caddy Master 7s. And they're betting 10-1 and upwards the balance. Now, Poster Girl is number 12. She jumped out of that maiden race and went straight into a Group 1. Sheldon, I'm going to suggest that if you're absolutely desperate and you want to get through to the last leg, that perhaps this is a banker.
I'd go banker number 12, Poster Girl. That's the other banker. If you're looking Maleficent in the 1 pick 6 banker, then you add the runners. And Poster Girl coming out of the Alan Robertson, grade 1 behind The Secret is out. She's got the draw. She's got Anton Marcus. I think she's going to take a ton of beating here.
Justin, does that make some kind of sense? Is she a kind of filly that, based on her debut win, in this kind of field, we can safely say that she's got the experience at Greyville, she can win it?
Yeah, I think that's a very clever way of going about it. If not bankering her, then at least going very light at the back. I think we see with these sales races, you know, that it does tend to favor the fillies quite often because they do get the 2.5 kilos allowance. And not only that, they've also cracked the draws in this race. So Poster Girl, Shazam, third behind the Merry Widow in a feature and PE 2 runs ago. 1 last start now coming up for this particular race, drawn 1, Poster Girl drawn 2. And then in draw 3 is Luna Rush, who ran second behind Kirari Falcon last time. That's got to have a chance. And then I'm going to give another chance to number 1, Caddy Master, because I thought he won a very, very good race and a hot race first time up against winners. And he ran a disappointing race, running just about second or third last in his last start behind Riverine. So put a line through that for me, and I'm going to throw him in the pick 6 as well.
Okay, guys, you're in the hot seat now. This is the 9th race, a very important race because it is the last leg of the pick 6, the last leg of the place accumulator. Of course, we've got another jackpot to look forward to, which it's the first leg of. So perhaps if you went short in the pick 6 and ended up running towards this last leg short, you could actually load up in the second jackpot just to give yourself some hope of continuing your interest through the night. But Poster Girl, did she impress you first time out?
Yeah, I think 12, if you want to go short. I went 12, 1, 10, 7. I think you had to...
Caddy Master second, the King of Random third, and Luna Rush in the money there.
Not necessarily in that order, but I would like Justin said, I'll give another chance to Caddy Master. It was impressive first time, and I think the next run wasn't that good. And then the Duncan Howell Maiden, I think it's got that come on look about it. Luna Rush.
Okay, so the key to your pick six structure might be to obviously go short with Maleficent and maybe look to go short in this race and pin your hopes on Poster Girl. 10th race. Now here is a race. 1835, the Johnson Workwear Garden Province Stakes Grade 1. What a cracking field. Vintage older horses against rising stars amongst the 3-year-olds. 11 Silver Mountain, who signalled to return to form last time out behind Alexis 2-1. Inara, still a maiden at Greyville. Can she overcome that this time? 3-1. Negro Amaro gave the Vodacom Durban July a miss to run here, 6-1. Alexa, successful again at this course last time out, a big price, 8-1. Heaps of Fun, the Fillies Guineas winner at 10-1. Sensible Love at 8-1 and Lana Falcon at 12-1. This is a race where the Gauteng Fillies Guineas form comes under scrutiny. That was won by Heaps of Fun from Negro Amaro, taking on Silver Mountain and Inara. Garth, I'm going to start with you. Obviously, a quality race.
Yeah, look, I think, I know a lot of people think that Silver Mountain lost her form and she's fluffed her lines, but her last run really impressed me. She swung for home wide. She made up a lot of ground. She was beaten by a filly that does extremely well, Alexis, in Durban, especially at Greyville. I'll give her, I must say, I really put into the race. I think she's going to be the one to beat. And like you say, there's a lot of top fillies here. I mean, 11, 1 Inara, she's got to find that kind of form. I think maybe she flattened out a little bit, but she went up to the Highveld twice, but she must definitely be coming back to form. Lana Falcon, another filly with a chance. Alexis can't put a foot wrong on Durban, and never mind the turnover, she'll be right there. And then I went a little bit with the number 3, Alma. We tend to forget how good she is, and I think she'll come right back to form.
Justin, really, it's a race that I'm really looking forward to on Vodacom Durban July. Quality fillies. Hard to believe that Negra Amaro hasn't won a race since November when she beat Heaps of Fun by 4 1/4 lengths. Heaps of Fun turned that over in the Fillies Guineas. They're obviously coming here with a chance, but you would, of course, be, with your relationship with Main Chance Farms, you're going to be sort of, your allegiances with Silver Mountain, no doubt.
Yeah, look, she's cracked a good draw again, which is important. She ran a good race last time. You know, if we get over analytical about it, she got beat by Alexis, who's rated 100, and about a neck behind her, and third was Sensible Lover, who was rated 95. So it's hardly 111 territory where she was rated earlier on. But she obviously wasn't well in her first run here. It's been well publicized, and her work going into her last run was a lot better. And she's been improving all the while. So, if Bernard can possibly sit a bit longer coming into the straight, if everything goes his way and they go a bit of a clip, then he might be a couple lengths off and looking to pounce. She turns it on a dime. She's got a real quick turn of foot. But I think they're all going to be chasing Inara home. I think she's going to put the record straight here. She's going a mile now. She was a bit unlucky from a wide draw last time. Grant couldn't get in. She pulled, then he had to drop her in, and then it just all went wrong for her. And I think she's the best filly in the race by a few lengths, and I think she's going to win another Group 1 and get the Equus Filly of the Year award in the same time.
So, Justin, happy to give Inara another crack here at Greyville. Sheldon, from your point of view?
I'm 100% behind number 1, Inara. She's a multiple Grade 1 winner. Her last run, things didn't map out for her. I'm going to hope that she runs to that rating of 111. She's by far the best weighted. And Inara, that last run, not herself. She was only under a length behind Alexis. And I think she's going to come right at the course. She's had 4 runs for a second and the 4th at Greyville. I think this is going to be her night to shine.
Inara, could this year be her time to shine at Greyville and the Johnsons Workwear Garden Province Stakes? Whatever the outcome, quality fillies, it's going to be a crack of a race. Let's move on to race 11, which is the Tab Gold Sprint. It's over 1,200 meters. It's for 3-year-olds, and we're on the Polly. Okay, so we've got a lot of well-matched, evenly matched 3-year-olds, and as you can see there again, certainly the betting suggests no easy race. Victoria Lavelle at 9-2, Captain Swarovski 5-1, Budapest 11-2, Natal 6-1, Captain Chaos 7s, Bunkerville 7s, Ernie 8-1, Cutting Edge 9-1. They're betting 10s and better the balance. Sheldon, I'm going to start with you because this looks very competitive.
With number 9, Budapest, he's got the inside draw, he's got gate speed. Of course, if you go back to that victory in Anglet when he won the big race, he went start to finish under Anthony Del Pesce. I think he's a horse who's going to enjoy that inside draw. He's got the speed, so I'll go number 9, Budapest. Number 10, Victoria Lavelle, she'll be my second pick. She's the best rated after running second to Our Destiny last time. Then 1, Captain Swarovski, and you can throw a blanket after that.
Justin, not an easy race.
No, not easy. My first pick is the filly, Victoria Lavelle. Very good filly, well drawn, got the weights in her favour, and obviously Anthony rode Captain Swarovski and her last time and is riding the filly here. Second choice will be number 1, Captain Swarovski. If you watch his last race in detail, he couldn't get a run to the very last moment, and as the gap opened, he quickened through, and he could have won by a bit further than a quarter of a length. He'll be my second selection, and third I'll go with Budapest. Drawn 1, coming down to a 1200 trip, is in his favour. He's lightning quick out the gates, and he runs very handy. He's been drawn basically widest of all in 3 of his last 4 runs, and now he's got 1 draw. He'll come on there, he'll be in the money.
Garth, what catches your eye in the 11th race?
You know what, I don't want to leave out number 6, Cutting Edge. He won the Million Rand race last year at the same time. He's ran with 63.5 kilos last time. Was a brave run. I thought a very good run at the time. The 10, obviously, 6'10". I like the 9. And I don't want to leave out number 3, Natal. I can excuse him for the 1 bad run. Otherwise, before that, he hadn't put a foot wrong. So those would be my horses, and I'd include the number 1. So 6, 10, 9, 3 and 1.
6, 10, 9, 3 and 1. Nobody's mentioned number 5, Captain Chaos, who's won his only start over the course and distance in such impressive fashion that I think he can follow up despite the wide draw. What it does add up to, in my view, is that second jackpot, perhaps if you're going to go a bit light in the Johnson's Workwear Garden Province Stakes, this to me also looks something of a field race. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the guys on my right are more tuned in than I am, but I think that it's not quite as simple as they make it out to be. I think it's very competitive. Evenly matched 3-year-olds go as wide as you can. I agree with Garth. I'm in his camp. It's wide open. So that takes us to the lucky last, which will go off at 5 minutes to 8 on Saturday evening. We have a maxi pool carryover for the quartet. We're expecting the pool to reach 1.5 million rand. It's the Daisy Business Solutions handicap. It's listed. It's over 1,600 meters. It's on the turf. And your favorite is number 2, Baritone, at 3 to 1. Number 9, Brooklyn Brawler, is at 4 to 1. 13, Nebula, is 5s. 4, Celtic Captain, 6 to 1. 14, Royal Life, 6 to 1. They're betting 10 to 1 and upwards the balance. The favorite, number 2, Baritone, to be ridden by Anthony Delpeche for the Justin Snaith stable. Interestingly, he's got off Nebula to ride Justin's horse, and Nebula was quite an impressive winner last time out. Garth, last race of the day. We want to catch a quartet. We want to survive the last leg of the second jackpot. How do you see this race panning out?
Yeah, look, it's not a case of probably Anthony getting off to ride another. You see, he's riding in the July for the guy. He's probably has to ride number 2, but I think it's also a tough race. I like 2 South. I think that's a big runner, running better company. 14, 13, and 9.
So 14 is Royal Life, 13 is Nebula, 9 is Brooklyn Brawler. So the numbers then for Garth in the last race: 1 Sail South, 2 Baritone, 9 Brooklyn Brawler, 13 Nebula, 14 Royal Life. That's the nucleus of his quartet selections for the 12th and last race, which will also feature a quartet carryover, taking a pool to $1.5 million. Now, you were saying off air, Justin, that you are a Brooklyn Brawler fan, which is a stable companion to the favorite.
Yeah, massive Brooklyn Brawler fan. I think receiving 6 kilos from Baritone, I don't think there's such a difference between the two. 2,000 meters last time, not necessarily that it was too far, but he was unfortunate. He clipped heels in that race, and he was still very close to the winner. So I think he's going to take a power of beating here. Second place for me will be 13 Nebula. I think probably a bit better over further, which is why I went with a 9. I think Nebula is going to be looking for 10 furlong going forward. He's a full brother to Marshall Eagle, who won the Met. But the geldings definitely improved him. He was coming along the way as a Derby contender in Cape Town until he just went off form. Gelded 2 runs now, very good win last time. I think also the jockey bookings probably got to do with Cornet is going to be here to ride on the day. He's riding Alexis and other horses for the stable, and he's a stable jock. So that's probably why he's on Nebula, and Anthony's gone on to one of the Snaith horses. Baritone, a big run. He's got all the pudding to give away, though. And Celtic captain must go in the quartets for me. If you take away his last run where he clearly is not a 10 furlong horse, he pulled very hard. His run behind Black Arthur in the Guineas was pretty good. And obviously second to Brooklyn Brawler the time before with a big swing in the weights.
Sheldon, the last race, help us out.
I'm going to lean with number 9, Brooklyn Brawler. I believe he could be the class package, yes. I think he's going to show the improvement. Justin touched on that daily news run. He had valid excuses. I'll go number 9, Brooklyn Brawler. Number 3, Big Cat's going to be my shooty as far as the place bets go. If you look at the weight turnaround with Baritone, 5 runs back, he has beaten 5 lengths by Baritone. His last run way below his ability. I think he could be a nice exacta and place inclusion. So 9, Brooklyn Brawler, 3, Big Cat, 2, Baritone, and then I'll throw in number 13, Nebula.
Okay, well, there you've heard it from our guys. What it all adds up to is a very, very competitive day's racing. Not too many good things on the card. Generally, Maleficent might be the one, Poster Girl might be the others. For the rest, the racing is very, very tough, very, very competitive. As I said right at the outset of the show, the totalizator opens tomorrow, Monday the 27th. The race cards are out, the computer forms are out, the winning forms are out. All of your favorite publications have already got details of all 12 races. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you at Greyville on Saturday.